Welcome back, ITL fam. You have made it to the next session of summer school. Hey, classes in session now. Classes in session now. And y'all can write this down in your notes because today's class is about Seeking God 102. Everyone crack it out. Get ready, get ready, get ready. And we have here a special guest named Savannah, and I know her, but do y'all know her? Y'all will know her pretty soon. You will know her pretty soon. So, Savannah, why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself? Who are you?
Okay. My name's Savannah. I'm 17.
Jeez. Wait, I actually didn't know that. I thought she was 18.
You didn't?
No.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I'm a young one.
Literally.
I just graduated from Notre Dame High
Go
School.
Saints!
Go Saints.
Go Saints.
And I am going to be going to the University of Mississippi in the fall.
Ooh.
Ole
Miss.
Ole Miss. Hottie toddy.
Hottie toddy.
Yep.
That's too funny. Okay, so we got 17, just graduated. So you're fresh. You're like summer.
Fresh summer.
What are the summer vibes?
Oof, I am definitely just enjoying free time. It's definitely a lot of that, but I do have some fun.
Do you have a job?
Planned. I do have a job.
Okay, working girl.
I am a hostess at a restaurant.
Okay.
Yes.
We can deal with that. We can do that. That is cool. Oof, that summer.
Yes.
After graduating is.
It's definitely.
There's no words for it. Everyone talks about the graduation and leading up to it, and then after it's literally
like, what do we do?
Just you and your thoughts.
Yeah, basically.
You and your thoughts.
But it's okay.
It's okay.
I kind of like it.
A lot's
Peaceful
on the horizon.
The chaos.
Yes.
You know.
You said chaos is coming.
Yeah.
Roomy chaos. We'll discuss that later.
Okay.
We'll discuss that later. So we're excited because, seeking God, it can look different for everyone, no matter their phase. It's something that we all strive for. And maybe it's something that, hey, I don't even want any part of at this time. It's very interesting. And I think God is cool because the one thing about him is he's there when we don't want him to be there. When we realize that he's just always there.
He is.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
And I gotta know because I think that people's walks come at different paces. Some are running, some are walking, some are just seated on the couch chilling. So what I want to know today, because as we talk about this journey of you seeking God and how we can do that today, is like, tell us a story of like when that light bulb went off and you were just like ready to live out your faith.
Yeah. Okay, so some background, first of all.
Some background.
I've always, grown up in, a religious household. Like, my dad grew up Catholic. My mom is super duper strong in her faith. Like, we would go to church, but definitely not every weekend. But we weren't that family that would only go, Christmas and Easter.
Right.
We would go, but I would complain. I'd be like, I don't want to go. This is boring. I didn't really, understand it. I wasn't super, I wasn't screaming and crying going to church, but I wasn't
and that's
oh my
normal.
Gosh, that's excited. Yeah, and that was, definitely up until I was, 13, 14. I was super just okay, whatever you want to do, Mom and Dad. And then when I went to high school, I kind of just, forgot about God. It wasn't necessarily, the people that I was surrounding myself with. It wasn't that I was, purposely, I just, forgot. He was just, totally on the back burner.
Literally.
And literally. And my mom would, send me, all the time. She'd be like, you should read this book. Let's watch this movie. Here, she goes on a walk every single day. And every single day, she, puts headphones in and she listens to the Bible every day. And she would always send me, screenshots and, underline it. And send me, the thing. I wouldn't read it. I would just be like, I would just, heart the message.
Heart the message, Mom. Thanks, Bill.
And, it just never happened. And then one year, it was 2022 going into 2023, right? It was New Year's goal. And my mom always was, pushing me. She was pushing me to, start a relationship with God. And I was always just no, Mom, let me be, I do not want to listen to you, I'm going to do it when I want to do it, just, stop. Stop. And so, the New Year's, 2022, 2023, we were doing our goals, and I was you know what, I want her off my back, so I am going to, this is going to be, I have it in my notes app right here, but I was like, this is going to be my goal. I want to grow my relationship with God at my own pace, right? And so I told her that, and she was like so excited. But I was kind of just like, all right, like I'm kind of just like getting this off her, like just so she can kind of get off my back, right? And then it came, and like the first like after that goal, actually, like second semester junior year was probably like the hardest time for me, like in high school. Like I was like, my anxiety was starting, like I was like at school, like having panic attacks, like at school, and I was just like, oh wow, like I don't, like what is happening? Like it never really happened for me before. Like freshman, sophomore year, half of junior year, I was kind of just like chilling. Like I was just like, it's fine, like whatever, like I'm living my life. I'm going to pom practice after school and waking up and going to school and repeat, right? And so it was really bad, and it was mainly about, actually, it was mainly about boys, because this is high school, like let's be real, like boys is like it's very like, it's a thing in school, right? All my friends, or what it felt like, all my friends like had some sort of like guy in their life, and I was just like, oh, right, I don't have that, like what's wrong with me, like and like at this point I was like praying, but I was praying like not in the right way. Like I was praying for like myself. I was like, God, please like give me this boy, like this will like make me happy, basically, right? And so eventually that happened over summer, and my light bulb went off at like the end of summer, right? And we were like in my room talking, and he was like, yeah, I like went to this church thing with some of my friends on Sunday night, and it was so good, like you have to go, like it was amazing. And like the way he was like describing it was like, it was just like different, like it was just like how he would, like I could almost like see God, like I was just like, holy cow. And I was like, in that moment I was like, okay, like I need to go, like I don't care if I go by myself, if I don't go with him, like I need to go to church, I need to like start going to church, right? Yeah. I had said like, oh, I would go, but like I don't have a youth group, I don't have a community that I would go to. And I was like, okay, I have that now. So I went, and it was like life changing. Like I like started my journey with God on my own, and that's crazy. Like I just like felt so like at peace. Like it was crazy. Like it was just this feeling of like, oh, like no, like I feel so much better like about everything in my life. Everyone would be like, Savannah, there's just like something different about you now. Like you just like I remember my friend like gave me this compliment, and like I will forever remember this compliment. She was like, Savannah, there's just like, ever since you've been like pursuing your relationship with God and like going to church, like I just like really like see that, like you just like radiate this different energy, like I can see God through you. Wow. And I was like,
so wait a sec,
through me? Like, oh my gosh, are you serious? And she was like, yeah, it's just like who you are, and like I don't think you understand like how much of an impact like you have on people. And I was like, holy cow. And like I was reading my Bible every night, I was going to church, I was listening to sermons like in my free time, like I was just like full on, like I had like at this point I was just focused on myself, and like I had finally like looked back and been like, oh, like he had to use someone else to get to me, which is like so normal. Like I was like praying for this person, and I got this person, but it ended up being such a blessing in my life, but it was also a lesson, right? Yeah. It was like the biggest lesson, and I'm so thankful for that, because it really like just like skyrocketed, and like it wouldn't be that way. But it was like the thing that I wanted the most that he gave to me to get to him, right? So it's like sometimes you like have to think about that. Like he may give you what you want, but it's not for like the reason that you like might think. Yep. Right? And now I am so much like happier and at peace with like everything in my life, and I can go to college completely comfortable and secure in my faith and my morals, and I've had like this whole year to just like really grow and be like so like secure in my faith with God. Like that is like one thing. That is the one thing that I know. Like I will always have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's crazy. It's crazy how even when you're emphasizing the point of like, you never know how it's going to happen. You think like, oh, is it going to be instantly when I go to church and it's the first church service and everything's going to click? Oh, wait, I went and it didn't work. Yeah. Is something wrong? Does God not love me and I'm not a good Christian? And it's like, you never know in which way that it'll come about. One day, lights are off. One day, lights are on. And it's pretty beautiful. But it's also good to be real about even just knowing and being real where you're at with God. I feel like sometimes a disservice we can do to ourselves is kind of pretend we're something we're not. But you even just knowing in this past year, you're like, you know what, I got serious about pursuing and this different type of relationship that's unlocked when, you know, we've all had our parents be like, come on, you want it too. Yeah. And sometimes it does take that outside source, and that's why, you know, we may have a podcast like this or anything else, because like it's easy to just brush off anything our parents say, but they mean it all with love. I know I definitely did that for a long time too. So gotta hear, when it comes to this book, the Bible, which if anyone knows how to say the word Bible in Spanish, let me know, because
isn't it like Bible?
Oh, maybe it's that. Okay, it might be that, because I don't know why I thought it was
last year.
Okay. I thought it was biblioteca, but that means something else. What does that mean?
Not the Bible.
I know, it means like something else.
I think it's
so
just
that's
I'm not very good at Spanish.
If it's Bible,
No, I wouldn't list, like I'm really bad at Spanish. I didn't take a senior year for a reason.
That's crazy. When I find out, I'm gonna find out after this episode, because I need to know.
I'm gonna need
for the third class, because this is an immersion podcast.
Oh, okay.
we like, you know, you can get a Spanish credit after this.
Oh, seriously? Perfect.
After this class, that's crazy. So, who in here is just someone that you look up to when it comes to like an example, when it comes to like faith and their boldness?
Okay, so I said Jesus.
Okay.
Because I was thinking about it, and I had like written down a couple of people, but then I was kind of like, wait, but I always like really like just go back to Jesus. Like, as basic as it sounds, like I genuinely want to like fulfill him, right? Like I'm always like, what would Jesus do in a situation? Like his consistent like compassion and kindness for other people, especially when all they did was like ridicule him for like anything and everything. Like it's comforting knowing that like he was perfect. He was literally perfect, and people still hated him. And they still put him on that cross. Right. So it's like, I'm not perfect. I am so far from perfect. So why would like everyone like love me for my faith? Right. Like I always go back to him. Like I constantly ask myself, like, what would Jesus do in a situation? He would forgive. He would show compassion. He would be kind. He would always want what's best for the other person. Like it's like a constant thing that's like in the back of my head. Like I need one of those bracelets that's like WWJD. Literally. Like because I always think about that. And when people ask me like for advice, I'm like, honestly, like what would Jesus do? Right. Like, and it gets people thinking like, oh, like he would choose to forgive this friend who did something that's completely off the rails. But you know that like he forgives everyone. Everyone makes mistakes. Like so I always go back to him. Always go back to him. And it's crazy because you only know that in his character after reading. Exactly. We all heard, you know, like the songs growing up, like, oh, Jesus loves you, and like, everything, you know, you maybe sat in messages for 13 years that were saying this, but it was really once you took the time to be like, okay, I'm turning to the book of Matthew. This is what he did here. You legit read, and then you kind of just discover like, wow, like that is the man that I gave my life to and learned. It's like,
hack unlocked. I'm telling you.
Hack unlocked.
It's the most simple hack that we literally all know. And
yeah, we all know, but we don't use it. Like, let's be real. Like, the Bible is what? Like, the most sold book in the... It's the oldest book, but, like, if you get a Bible for your house, are you actually picking it up and reading it? Because a lot of people don't, right?
Yeah.
They buy it, and they put it there, and they're like, oh, people come in, they're like, oh, Bible. Like, they're probably, like, a good Christian. But, like, if you, like, look inside the Bible, is there anything in the Bible? Because that's what really, like, shows.
Yeah, it does really show, and it's crazy because, like, we've all been there.
Oh, I was there. Oh.
It's crazy because then it's like once it's just...
You can't judge other people for, like, not being on your timing.
Ooh. Wait, that's a whole other episode. That's a whole other episode. So I gotta know, because we're already, like, kind of getting there. So in your opinion, what do you think is, like, the holdup? Because a lot of us, and this is a huge trend that at least I've seen, where it's like, okay, we have the child that they're in church ages, 0 through, like 16, depending, some 18, some younger, when their parents, like, let them decide. And then they fall off, and then who knows if they're coming back. A lot do come back, a lot don't come back. Yeah. So what do you think this holdup is, where it's coming to that? Honestly, the person could be any age. But when it comes to them, turning towards Christ and fully living it out, why are we facing this fear?
Okay. I actually have two things that I think are the main reasons. I would say, just, like, personally, like, what I've seen, what I've gone through, like, especially with people, like, kind of my age, like, in high school, a lot of people don't want to give up things that they think the world can provide for them because they don't think it will be, like, as good as what, like, God can provide for them, right? Like, or they think following God will lead to disappointment. Yeah. And so I hear this a lot. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, wait, but, like, I don't want to sacrifice, like, my Friday and Saturday nights. Yeah. Like, I want to do that. But, like, how does that, like, make you feel afterwards? Like, you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, like, and I am not going to lie. Like, that's happened to me. Yeah. Like, it happens to everybody. Like, if I would be so, like, I would be completely lying if I sat here and was like, I'm perfect. Like, I never did that. Like, I just, like, wasn't with God and now I'm with God. But, like, I did. Like, I did. Like, everyone does, right? So that's why it's so important. You can't, like, look at someone and be like, oh, like, you're lower than me because you don't have, like, the discernment to, like, not. Or, like, it's so hard because you think that the world can provide for you, but what is that, like, filling? Like, other than, like, the word. Because, like, I know, and I said this, but, like, it's, like, the difference between, like, having, like, such bad anxiety, like, no one understood how bad my anxiety was. It was, like, not even, like, my parents, because, like, they never really, like, went through that, right? Like, but I, like, had them, like, so often. Like, I would, like, be in my room and, like, literally shaking because, like, something happened, and I just, like, don't know how to deal with it, right? Yeah. But it's, like, once I started going to God and, like, giving all of those things to God, like, literally sitting there praying, being like, dear God, like, I don't know how to do this, but, like, I know that you do, and I can't do anything about it, so I'm just gonna, like, give it to you. Like, the peace that I felt is better than, like, anything that the world can give me. Yeah. Like, it's, like, the satisfaction that someone might get from, like, going up to a girl at a football game and getting her Snapchat, it's like, oh, bro, like, I got her Snap, like, W. But it's like, okay, like, how is that going to make you feel internally in the long run? Yeah. Like, is that really going to benefit you? Or is, like, that's great. Like, go you. Like, I'm happy for you. But, like, if you don't have the word and, like, going to church and those friends that will, like, fulfill that for you, you're never going to get what you want from the things that can be taken away from you. You never will. And it's crazy because it's important to be aware of, like, the society we grew up in. So if everything that I watched growing up shows
a lot of TV shows are about like coming of age. So it showed us all in elementary school and middle school, hey, this is what high school is gonna be like. This is what college is gonna be like. This is what happens. And this is when we are at the youngest point we're ever gonna be. Our brain is like a sponge soaking in everything. And I really do think so much is like we got so much media and overload from Degrassi, Pretty Little Liars. I don't know if those shows are too old.
I love Pretty Little
Liars. Okay.
You
guilty pleasure. But like that show is bad. Looking back, it's not good. But then if you're like, hey, I was this little girl and I was like, okay, this is the move. And it's like so much of it, it's like, at least I know for myself, I was always facing that same feeling of like, if I follow God, how am I gonna be a pretty little liar?
Right. And it's like you look at that and you're like, oh, you have this like expectation of like, oh, like if I'm friends with these people, if I have this designer purse, if I like get this, even like grades, like if I'm valedictorian, I will be happy for the rest of my life. No, that's not how it works. I'm sorry to spoil it for you, but that's not how it works. You have to like find that within yourself, and that's the only anything that can give you that is God.
Is literally God, and as like cliche as it can sound, it's like you don't even know what you're missing, but it's also
you don't know what it's missing until it's full.
Like, until it's full. Yeah. And it's knowing, this is like, there's a lot of emphasis on God, but I think it's also knowing our enemy. So our enemy, not turning to a whole sermon, our enemy, literally what happens, our enemy wants us distracted. He wants all the kids in America watching this. He doesn't want anything positive going into the brain. So it's like, even just being aware of like, I am being sold these like lies, and like that's the enemy wants to bring as many people as he can down with them, and it's sad.
And like another thing that I have is like a lot of people say like, well, why would I like trust God if he failed me so much in the past? And they are like completely blind to like the things that are good. Like, wait, take a step back. Like, why don't you look at that and see what like came out of it?
Right.
Like a struggle, like I have this poster in my room that says struggles produce strength. And like you don't realize it until later, like I said earlier.
Realize it until later.
And like you can't look at it like that because God is never gonna fail you. He's never gonna be like, oh, I want this person to actually like not do anything in life. Like he always wants what's best for you.
Not quite him.
It might look different. Like it might be like you like the failures in your life might be the biggest blessings in your life. Like it's crazy and it's really hard to understand in the moment because you're just like, why God, why? But like instead of saying why, like I've definitely had those moments like, why God, why? But I'm like, no, wait, I need to be like, wait, I know that you have a plan for me. Like I know everything is gonna work out. Like it's like my roommate situation. It's like, oh, like I had this perfect roommate that I prayed for and 10 seconds later she asked to be my roommate, but like it didn't work out. But like maybe that is like maybe it's a blessing. It's an open door. It's not a closed door.
Yeah, that is so true. So I gotta know, because we're all on this walk every single day, every single step. Nothing is fully perfect at all. So what is one of the biggest challenges you still face when it comes to fully living for Christ?
There's definitely a lot.
So the list is long.
The first thing that I have.
That's crazy. Wait, I'm laughing at that. So number 1 out of 17 is I just don't understand. I was kidding.
I have 4.
Let's hear them. We gotta know. Okay. We gotta keep it real.
The first one that I have is learning to know whether it's a lesson or a blessing. Okay. Because I definitely get caught up in situations, especially with people, and everything is put into your life for a reason. Yeah. And so, but you have to have the strength to be like, oh wait, like this isn't right for me, and like this is what it taught me, right? Because
that's huge.
Like, but it's really hard, and like I would be lying. Like there are definitely people in my life who I'm like, okay, like for the sake of my own self, for like my heart, my morals, my values, like I can't like help you.
Yeah.
Like, and as bad as that sounds, like it's almost like they taught me something, but like, and maybe I taught them something, but it's like you have to be able to recognize that, and it's really hard.
It is really hard. It is. Yeah. It's no comment on that one.
What?
No comment on that one. But I think it's to know in the moment that it, like, I don't know. I think sometimes whether it's a friend, whether it's someone we're interested in, whether it's, I don't know, a mentor, whether it's a job, things do come in and out. It's this flowing door. And I think we do, since, you know, we want our lives to be fairy tales, which our life is going to be far from a fairy tale. Because if we look at, like she was saying, our master, our God, and who we serve, his life was far from a fairy tale. It's like, just not even hold, like, that doesn't make that person an evil person. That doesn't mean that that school sucks or you are not smart enough and that's why you didn't get in. It's like, just, my hands are up. It's
really hard, because also a lot of the times those lessons can be like disguised as things that you think you want, right? Like I said earlier, like it's like you might think that it's perfect and it's exactly what you want and this person is perfect and whatnot, but really it's just something like, and you also, another thing is like, it's like maybe you are like a lesson for that person. Maybe you weren't put into their life for your benefit, but their benefit.
Yeah. Wow.
And I think about that a lot.
It's huge.
Because, but it's really hard to.
That's a tough fight. What's another challenge? Okay,
this is something also that these are all kind of like recent like developments, because it changes. Like I have my little notebook and like I always write like what I need to work on, but not losing what I gained in the storm is something that's definitely been big for me, because like there's always ups and downs in faith. It's not going to be perfect for anyone. Like you're always going to have like that little moment of doubt. Like even like the person who might seem like they have everything together and they're like, oh my gosh, like they don't. Like there's always something. And you have to, like I said, like if something is hurting you and like you feel like it's pulling you away from God, like you cannot be in that. Whether it's a school or a person, a relationship, like if you can feel it, then it's not for you. And like if you work so hard for that relationship with God and you meet someone and then all of a sudden like they are like telling you like, oh, you're really helping me, but like they're doing the opposite for you. It's hard to be like, okay, well then maybe this isn't like necessarily the right thing. That doesn't mean that you don't have like love for them and care for them. Like I know I like would love and care for anyone. I love and care for everyone in my life, whether you were in my life or currently in it. But it's just like hard to really put yourself first and your relationship with God first, because like it's like an umbrella. You have to have God and then everything else, because if you don't have that, like everything else is gonna get wet, right?
Yeah.
So
not the umbrella.
I like that analogy.
No, that analogy.
I have another good analogy.
She said, "Just wait on it. Just wait." I don't love it. So, who has been an example for you in this time that, you know, when it comes to living out the faith boldly? Who's been someone in your life where you're like,
okay, all right, okay, so. I did high school pom. Okay, I was on my high school's pom team for all 4 years, and I would always go to like different like clinics, I guess you could say, like going for college, like to maybe get scouted. Obviously, that's not happening, but I would go
not obviously
for classes and stuff like that, and I would always go with this other girl. And she knew this one girl who was at a different school. Okay. They were like family friends, like they knew each other from the church that they went to, whatever. They've known each other for a while. And so I met her one time and we like slowly would like start to become like friendly towards each other at like these like dance, like clinics. I don't know what to call them. And so I knew who she was, but we weren't like super close friends. But eventually we started to become friends. And one time I was going to church to like a Sunday morning, or maybe it was Sunday night. And I think I posted something on like my Snapchat like private story.
Uh-oh. Right? Got risky there.
Or like maybe Instagram. Actually, it might have been Instagram.
Might have been Instagram close friends.
Because she saw it, and I wasn't like super good friends with her at this time.
Yeah.
So I think it might have been Instagram. And she slid up and she was like, "Oh my gosh, like I've been wanting to like go to this church. Like I've been wanting to try it." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, like you should totally come with me one time, right?" Okay. And so then she came, and she's my best friend, Faith Smith. I love you.
Shameless plug. Literally.
I adore her. She has been like the biggest blessing in my life. Like completely like the person that like God sent me, right? Because it's just like not like her name is Faith, right?
Literally.
Her name is Faith, and the whole senior year, she's just been like there for me. Yeah. Like absolutely everything, like in my faith, my relationship with God, like every step of the way, she's been there, right? Yeah. And Alicia knows her. Like she's the best. Like
I'll be knowing.
We are like totally like this, and we're both going to the South for college together. Not at the same school, but she has like because she's definitely been on her like journey with God more like consistent than me before like senior year. So she has just been there, someone that I can always talk to, someone that I know that's always going to give me like godly advice, right? And I am so thankful for her. She's the best.
That's beautiful. And it was cool to kind of see them, because I remember when they were, coming and were friends, I was like, where's the correlation? Yeah, I was like, how do you not same school?
Yeah.
And they were writing it out together, and I think it was cool to see them independently on their own coming to church and coming together, and that's a huge deal for a high schooler. Yeah. It is, like, that is a huge deal. Like, maybe you might see someone, like, in their late college or, like, once they're out of school pursuing that and doing that. But to even, like, seek out and intentionally be friends when you don't have it easy to spend lunch together every single day. You have to plan where you're going to meet up and all these things. Like, it takes a lot more intention. And I think it's cool. You can't let stuff like that pass by. And those friends like Faith are beautiful. And then I think there's also times when, like, I have heard where, like, oh, you're this now, like, leave all your old environments. And that's something where even this season where I'm really trying to, like, dispel, because if we leave our old all of them, all our old environments, all our old friends, it's like we were actually placed there for a reason to be a light. God didn't say, hey, your light has been ignited. Now go only hang out with church people that their light has been ignited. We actually talked, episode not released yet, but Matthew talked about like the 33% rule, which was basically 33% of your time spent with people you're discipling, 33% of your time spent with your peers, so Faith, 33% of your time then spent with another more mature crowd that is then discipling you. So you hanging with me, you know. Like so, and it's crazy because the church preaches so much that middle, like, oh, Christian friends, people that are mentoring you, but then it's like we cannot miss this, because how much when we read this was Jesus. Yes, he was with his 12. That's who he laid his head with at night. That's who he stayed with. But during the day, he was out pursuing the 33.
Yes.
He was out pursuing. So I want to hear in your opinion, because like you said, you've done Palm your whole life. You are still in different circles. So
yes.
How can one walk alongside one of their friends who just may not be ready yet?
Okay. I definitely have like a good chunk of my friends who are really trying.
Yeah.
Right? To like, they're really trying. Like, there's this one who I've just like recently kind of become super close with. And she is like, wait, Savannah, like, is that bad? Like, will God be mad at me if I do that? Like, I don't want to, like, is that bad? And like, I will be like, no, or like, maybe you shouldn't, right?
Right.
And so like, it's almost like, so like, I'm a fixer. I definitely like to help people.
Yeah.
Like completely like out of the goodness of my heart. Like I am just like, I want to help you, and that can be bad and it can definitely be good. And you have to like the good, you're helping that 33%, right?
Yes.
Like I'm definitely like helping some people in my life, but then there's other people who are helping me, right? Yeah. And so I would say you have to be pure in your prayers for them, because something that I always live by is like your intentions mean a lot. Like your intentions are everything, especially when it comes to your relationship with God and your relationship with the people around you. So if you're like sitting there and praying like, dear God, like I really want this person to like, I don't know, like be better. But like if you're like genuine, like sitting there like talking to God, being like, I pray that this person can have like the discernment to come to you. Like that is like the difference, right? There's a difference in praying like for something or for someone and then like praying for that person. Like you have to pray for them. Like prayer is your greatest weapon. Yeah. Like it really is. And then also another thing is, but you can't force anything. Like they have to want it themselves, which is me. Like that was me. Like I felt like I was being kind of forced by my mom. I was being super dramatic. She's the best, and she was just trying to help me. But she like I felt like she was forcing me because I wasn't ready. Because I wasn't like I want to. Like I had to want it, and that's how other people are. Yeah. So you can't sit there and be like, oh, come to church with me. Like come. You have to be like, hey, if you want to come, like come. But if you don't, like you're all good. Yeah, like that's real. All you. Like it's on you, right? Yeah. Like you're doing as much as you can. If you're like, hey, want to come to church, or like, oh, maybe you shouldn't do that. Like, but they have to want it for themselves. And it's the timing thing. Like it is the timing. Timing is different. Like you said, like some people are running, some people are walking, some people are sitting. But a lot of people say like, oh, I like don't like see God like ever. Like I just don't see him in anything. So like why would I like want to be that person for someone, or why would I listen to the person that's trying to be that for me? But like I heard this analogy once, and it was like there were 2 footprints in this sand, and then all of a sudden there was only 1 footprint in the sand. But it was really God carrying that person. Okay? But you can't see that, right? You can only see the footprints. So it's like you don't even realize it. And like you can use that analogy for people too. Like, oh, maybe this person is like carrying me. But like, yeah. And forcing it just makes it worse, honestly.
It does. Like someone could hear the exact same message, the exact same podcast, read the exact same verse. We maybe saw that verse our entire life, and then once we did one and have that desire, it wasn't anything any other person did. The verse didn't change. It's the exact same.
You just have to want it for yourself.
Because never change. And I think it's almost we can relieve that pressure that like, oh, if you invite them better this way, this will change it. Or like, oh, that was a wrong service for them. Like, dang it, that was my fault. It's like, yo, we are not that powerful.
Yeah, we can't.
It's literally God that changes a soul, that can turn on that light for them. It's like it either it speaks or it doesn't. It might speak now, it might speak in 5 months or 5 years, or who knows. But it's like that's God's word that will actually.
Because a lot of people also, me personally too, like you need to go through that like trial. Yeah. Right? So like you can't discredit that trial, and like that's why it takes people longer sometimes, right? Like I had to go through what I went through in order to come to God. Yeah. But like some people, maybe that's not right now, and like they need a little bit more. They need that one thing that will like push them over. Yeah. And you also are not in their brain. You don't know what they're thinking. So like you have no idea, right? Yeah. So it's like it's not your place. You can be there for them, comfort them, support them, pray for them.
Yeah, that's huge.
Like you can be friends with them. Like some people think that, personally, I think that it's okay to be friends with people who aren't like necessarily like walking with God.
Very much is okay.
Because you like can help them. Like you might be that blessing in their life. Like you might be the blessing. And like I love all the people in my life who are like not necessarily walking with God, but they're trying, right? It's like, oh, I get sent reels. Yeah. I get sent reels from like some of my friends who are a grade younger than me, right? And actually, I'm going to share this because it's a good quote, because I texted him and I was like, he sent this, one of my friends sent me a reel, and it was like a Christian reel. And one of the quotes was like, don't trade your self-respect for someone else's. It's easy to lose theirs and hard to get yours back. And I was like, oh my gosh. But like what I really got from that is like, oh, he's really trying. Like they're really trying. And like I didn't do anything. Like I was just there for him and telling him, what would Jesus do? Yeah. You know?
Literally. And Jesus was always there for no one on this earth was at his level. Exactly. Legit no one. But he gave me a chance, you a chance, and we show love. We show love. We got to make love that always. Very love never fails. Love so never fails. What would you tell someone right now, once you speak that listener, that is just struggling to obey God in this time of seeking God has been difficult and they're not seeing him? What would be that one piece of advice that you'd give them right now?
Okay. Well, I think that actually the title of this episode is just seeking God and really like putting effort into it, because it like the only thing that matters is that you're going. Yeah. Like there, even if you're in the back, if you're by yourself, like you're there, you're listening to the word. Like you are there. You are hearing what the pastor has to say. And you obviously wanted to go to church for a reason. Like you're there for a reason. So like you can just sit there and listen. And if you want to write in your notebook, write in your notebook. It took me like 2 months to like get a notebook. Like
everybody notebooks now.
Yes. No, I'm so serious. You started my notebook. Like I have my notebook and I've had it since like October. I'm almost done with it. Actually, I need a new.
That would be such a good day. That would be
true. But it's like you can take notes. For me, like I understand the message better if I can go back and look at it and reread it, and like I'm more attentive if I'm writing my notes, right? And like, but also you need to focus on the non-tangible things in your life. Like we said earlier, kind of the same thing. You have to really take a step back and be like, wait, is this like new chair making me happy, or is like God making me happy? Because like ultimately it's probably gonna be God, because the way that you feel in church, you're not thinking about the chair you're sitting on, you're thinking about like the word. Yeah. So it's hard also giving it to God. Like literally sitting there, I did this in church. I was like, the pastor was like, okay, like raise your hand if you like are gonna give your life to God. And it wasn't the first time I went. It was like probably like a month and a half in. Wow. And I was like, okay. And I raised my hand, and like I literally just remember I wasn't really listening to what he was saying. I was like praying my own prayer, and I was like, okay. I was like, God, I'm just gonna give it to you. Like I don't know what I'm giving to you, but I know I'm just gonna give it to you, and everything will work out. Because if I try and figure it out myself, like I'm just gonna give myself another panic attack, and I don't want that. Wow. So like if I can just give it to you and feel like that like internal peace about literally everything in my life, like everything in my life, it's just like, okay, like I know you got it. If it's right for me, it will come back. If like it's supposed to be in my life, it will stay. Yeah.
It's the seek, and I think of the verse, I don't know the exact placement, but if you seek, you will find. And it's like, I think it's interesting that we, fight for a lot of other things in our life, whether we're fighting for that body, or whether you're fighting for that relationship, or you're fighting for that grade. And it's like, yo, fight for this, or at least see. We all hear the stories of like, 3 months in the gym and nothing's changed. It's like, okay, give 3 months to God. Yeah. Like literally what we give God, like God, if you don't show me this sign in an hour, that's a done deal. Or like, you haven't showed me this sign and I haven't even done anything. It's like when we really flip it, it's like, where there does need to be, if this is your desire and you know it's your desire because you feel it in you and you can't shake it, and you've been living for only yourself for so long and you still just feel it. So why not? Why not give it a little 2-week challenge?
Do it. Oh my gosh, do it.
Do a little 2-week challenge.
Every day, read the Bible.
Yeah.
There's so many apps that you can get that will, like, if you're confused, like, there's apps that you can get to, like, help you. Mm-hmm. Or, like, you can go and, like, look up a podcast and be like, oh, I'm going to listen to this podcast and read along with them.
Yeah, and even devotional books. It's like, those are super helpful.
Those are super good. I have one of those.
Those are helpful. Those are helpful. We're already kind of telling them, but just want to hit so they know, like, the 2 to 3 ways in which they can live out their faith.
I have 3 things because
she's like that.
I'm just like that. I'm a yapper, and
the word yapper.
If you know me, you know I am. Okay. My first thing is journal your thoughts, but to God. I do this. Okay. I will, like, whenever normally it's in my bed, or sometimes I like to go to my little spot and just watch the sunset and read my Bible and journal to God. But I literally write, like, to God, like, I'm dear God.
Yeah. Wow.
Because, like, obviously he knows what's going on in my life, but it almost gives me even more, like, peace. Like, no,
yeah,
this
it does.
And, like, sometimes I'll talk while I'm writing. I'll be like, oh my gosh, okay, so this is happening. Yeah. Blah blah blah. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what's right. I don't know if I should, like, stay with him, or, like, if I should, like, choose myself, and like, maybe he needs time with God, like, whatever. It, like, really helps me personally. Like, but I would recommend doing that. And then, kind of already said this, but, like, making your faith a priority. Like, I'm sorry, you can sacrifice getting up at 7 a.m. on a Sunday morning to go to 8:30 service.
Yeah.
You can.
We can.
I do it. You can do it. It's really not that hard. It helps. And you'll feel so much better after. You will feel so much better once you have, like, that word in. Like, even if you're in your room and you're bored and you're watching TikTok on your phone, you can get your laptop out and watch a sermon instead. Yeah. Because you're doing the same thing. You're sitting on an electronic.
We have so much access right now.
Yes.
It's kind of crazy.
Yes, or you can, I do this. I go through my journal and I read old notes. And you really look back and, like, see your answered prayers. Yeah. By the way. And then third thing, I said this like 10 times, but I live by it. Let's get it 11th time. I literally live by, what would Jesus do? I'm so serious. Like, yeah. It's so real. Like, what would Jesus do? Because, like, your reaction versus his reaction is probably different. Because I definitely have my moments where I'm, like, super mad and I'm like, nope, choose love. I forgive you. Choose love. It's okay, but I'm gonna, like, keep my arm's length, right? Like, it's you have to have self-control to like take a step back and be like, okay, what would Jesus do? But that's what I do.
That's the 1, 2, and 3.
That's 3.
That's the 3. That's the 3. That's crazy. And I think it's just, like, circling back to, like, really your faith, the one that you have now, the one that you're seeking towards. It's knowing that so much is on the other side. When we do view it as it's this thing of rules, that everything I'm going to have to stop doing, it's almost as if it's like, it is a recreation. It's a death to our old self. Right. Our new self is born, and you go out and help people. I don't think there's anything that can be like, this is just real. It's like, yo, eternities are on the line. It's like, and when you really break that down, you're like, okay, if I say I may have given my life to Christ when I was 10 or whatever in church, like, I'm good. But it's like, how many friends around you aren't good?
A lot, probably. You don't even know how many.
It's like something that we need to actively be thinking about too. We're seeking God because we want others to seek God. It is just, it's crazy and it's beautiful, and I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, y'all. I have seen her through some things, and it also just shows hope that, like, it just shows a lot of hope because every relationship has intention. You never know where people will end up, where you will end up. And I guess just the last thing I want to say is never miss moments. Like, even all the moments that we had, like, they've all changed. Like, our life is not the same every single day as it was 6 months ago.
Not even like 2 months ago.
Yeah. And then literally in a couple more months, she's going to be at the school and be like, wow, I miss summer. It's like, never miss any moment because we're so fast to crave the next.
Yes, that is the world talking.
Yep, that is the world talking. And it's just beautiful. So we hope that your light was ignited throughout this episode. Any last words?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. Thank you,
Her, she's like, I'm such a mute now.
No,
I don't even know.
Well, get me on another topic and I'll talk.
Hey, no, sorry. She's like, I got you, I got you, y'all. It's been a blessed class.
Yes,
Goodness. School's out. Pack up your backpacks. School's not out. School's out for the day.
Yeah.
Till next week. It's like that summer course, yeah.
It's
a summer course. But we love y'all. And yeah, I guess peace out. See you next time in class.
Bye, guys.
Bye.